And we're go. Hello and welcome to the TTM podcast, episode 1. The Eagle has moved. My name is James Harrison, and I'm joined today by regular hosts David Vowles and Simon Marshall. And our special guest today is a Mr. Steve Fielding from the Bristol UFO Paranormal Facebook group. Before we begin this podcast, you can listen to us on a variety of platforms from YouTube to Podbean and Apple Podcasts, where you can find us also on the usual socials, Twitter and Instagram. Just search TTM Pods. This episode is in association with the Bristol UFO and Paranormal Facebook page, so make sure you get over there and follow to listen to see some incredible content. So now the preliminaries are all out the way, we can crack on. So Steve, welcome first of all, mate.
Thank you.
Tell us, how do you even get involved with UFOs?
Well, I was interested in paranormal stuff and UFOs from early age, maybe 1978 onwards. And I had a friend in a video shop in Bristol, and we were always chatting about UFOs. And one day in the Sun newspaper, way back in 1987, there was an advertisement from Quest UFO magazine, calling for anybody seen UFOs in their towns and stuff, and would somebody like to start up a group. So I said to my friend, right, you phone them up, get it all sorted out, and we'll get a group going. So we did, we got the group going, and we got friends' interest. People actually flocked to us to be an investigator.
Yeah.
And we had to do some yes and no sort of things,
Yeah.
And we got a little team going, and we had, and I think it went from the Sun newspaper to the Bristol Evening Post, and we had a big spread there in the centre.
So you got some good coverage there.
Yeah.
Local coverage and national as well,
National
which is pretty good.
coverage, yeah. And it said anybody who's seen UFOs or strange stuff, phenomena in Bristol, contact us and we will come and interview you.
So was that videos, photos, sort of whatever sightings you've seen?
No, it wasn't. It was just like a normal, have you seen stuff, then phone us, like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So yeah, we set up a recon unit on motorbikes. It was me and my friend Winston on motorbikes, and then we had other people who had cars, and then they would go and interview people, we'd go and interview people. We teamed up like 2 people, interview them, and it was great, and it was really, really addictive. And it really felt like something out of the film, like cinema. And we interviewed people, and it's like, wow.
So some of the things you would have seen then, almost straight off the bat, you would have been people telling you, I've seen this, I've done this, I've done this. So, I mean, first of all, you need to filter out a lot of the shit, don't you? Because you're going to get people saying that I've seen a goat fly and, and absolute ridiculous stuff like that.
What was your first, experience?
Depends on what my experience with interviewing people.
No, with, sightings and things like that. What would have...
Oh, God, I've seen stuff way back in 1982, but it was my own personal thing.
Right.
I've seen weird lights moving, stuff when you look up in the sky, and I didn't even know there were satellites then. They could have been satellites.
Yeah.
But there's that sort of thing. But I've always been interested, and always felt a connection with space and outside the planet sort of thing, which was a weird thing, and I've always been different.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's good. I think it's good to be into something like that.
It's good to have an understanding of your immediate universe that's around you, because you ask anybody, they'll be lying if they tell you they weren't interested in what goes on in the universe, and yet alone our solar system, which in cosmic terms is our doorstep. I think if we cut straight back to it, you're saying that obviously you've worked for the magazine, which is brilliant. You've had great national exposure. You've had local exposure as well. How does that then transpond? How does the magazine go bigger? How did things sort of kick off for you?
Well, the magazine at the time was the only UFO magazine.
Yeah.
And it was churning out really...
In the area, country?
No, in the country. And I think it was on the planet, because that was the only one that was in the newsstands. Where they got all the magazines. That was the only one that was there.
That was the only one, yeah.
But yeah, it was, and it was dealing with some uttered some stuff that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was first thing when Area 51 was noticed, the Greys, Linda Moulton Howe with her stuff came out, and it was very early days.
Right.
And my friend who had the video shop would get UFO videos.
Yeah.
In like people would do
yeah,
TV programs, and it's really, really interesting.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought, well, you know what, this is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I can imagine, because as you have a passion, all of a sudden you're seeing loads of stuff come through that you've never seen before.
And this was before internet and X-Files.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And I was doing stuff like was like, whoa.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
And it was really great. And
before the days where people could take a video out their garden and
this was in 1986, 87. That's when it started. But
this is before you had the world at your fingertips in your back pocket. I think you're right. You're right in what you're saying there.
The internet was even.
The internet didn't exist.
Crazy.
And we had to carry big Sony cameras
to get the shot.
And by the time we got it going, it was gone. You know, look, there it is. Look,
it's gone.
So in terms of you know, so we go back to the magazine. So you're doing a great job, obviously getting good exposure. You're listening to fantastic stories. And when we obviously spoke before, prior to the pod, you mentioned that obviously it was closed down. Do you know what I mean? Was this before or after any of your, let's say, personal experiences with extraterrestrials?
This was afterwards.
It was afterwards. So,
after,
did your first personal experience with extraterrestrials, Steve, come through crop circles and then into abduction, or did you jump straight into abduction? And how does that work?
Well, because we were in the West Country. We were Tony Dodd and Graham Birdsall asked us to investigate crop circles.
Right. Okay.
So we went to Silbury Hill, investigated crop circles around Silbury Hill, and we met people who were doing it, like Pat Delgado and some other people.
Yeah.
And we went in these crop circles, and it was like, whoa, they were flatter than this table.
Is that right?
They were flat, and the edges were crisply cut. And we were filming, and they filmed some black moving objects around me.
Right, okay.
And
like orbs, or
no, it was like a black caterpillar. Because after we had the video back, we played it. And it's going, why is it around you all the time?
Right, okay.
And this was on the floor or mid-air?
This was in the crop circle.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know.
Notice or feel anything?
We had magnetic devices which would take magnetic readings, and it was highly magnetic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Right.
And we went in those, and then we went in other ones which were not the same as the ones we went in. These were like tufty crap, basically, and you could tell they were man-made. But other people couldn't. They see a crop circle and go, oh wow, aliens sitting it and meditating chant. And you know, they didn't know. They haven't been in the ones I've been in. They haven't done the investigation side of things. You know?
Okay.
So it's easy for them to spout off crap, basically.
No, I agree with that.
But and there was a great big debate on what formed them, how it was formed, the vortices, the microwave, the blah blah blah, and nobody looked at it from an out of the box sort of thing. You know, and I wrote, because I'm do artwork. I drew the ones we were in, the circles we were in, which were flat and crisp.
Right, okay.
Right, the other ones, forget it. So I wrote them all down, and I went back home. I opened my book on mysteries, I think it was, some sort of paranormal book I had lying about. And I turned open the page, and there's the Dogon tribe in Africa, and there's a Dogon warrior, and behind him was the crop circles. And I thought, what the fuck is this? You know? And there's the crop circles, I didn't even know what they were, behind them, and I looked at what it was, and there's the symbols for Saturn and Jupiter. Alright?
Yeah.
So that means the crop circles I got were symbols for Saturn and Jupiter. They were symbols for planets.
So what we're saying is, sorry to cut you off. So just to briefly summarise, just so I'm following it. So you've gone to see the crop circles. You can determine which ones are man-made, which ones are made by obviously other worldly
other forces. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're at the crop circles. You found a message there, because What was the message? Was it in a bit of paper? Was it?
No.
It was the actual circle shape.
It was weird how it happened.
Yeah.
I had all the circles in front of me, which were flat and crisp.
Yes.
And because I recognised that Jupiter and Saturn were the star symbols from the Dogons, I looked at the other ones, and there was a circle with a little circle, which was Earth. Right. There was one great big one with nothing around it, which was the Sun. There was 3, one in the middle and 2 at the sides, and that was Mars. Because at the time, Mars only had 2 satellites. It was Phoebus and Deimos.
Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah, only had 2, so that was depicting Mars.
Yeah.
Right. Then Jupiter was a big one with, I think it had 4 ones around it, which I think at the time Jupiter only had 4 satellites, but now it's got millions. So.
I think it was 4 that could be easily detectable from Earth. So whenever you take a picture through a satellite, what you get is a picture of Jupiter, and you see usually around 4 moons sticking out. But the other satellites, of course, are there, but the sun doesn't obviously.
And of course, it goes way back to Dogon times, to ancient times.
Who were the Dogons?
Yeah, who are the Dogons?
The Dogons are an African tribe who said that they came from the Sirius system. They had gods that came out from the sea.
So the Sirius system, that's the one that's got one of the biggest suns in the galaxy.
Yeah, and they through their knowledge that the gods gave them, they were able to depict anything from. I can't remember what it was. It was before even modern day scientists could do it.
Yeah,
you know.
So they drew. I've seen on your phone. They drew different images.
Yeah.
What would you say? Symbols.
Symbols, but I didn't realise that crop circles were symbols.
Right. Okay.
So, like I said, anyway, I worked out that all the ones that I had formed the solar system, our solar system.
That's incredible.
And I even discovered that Neptune or Uranus had rings before they discovered.
Did you
rings.
work this out?
Yeah.
While you were there.
Yeah. No, not while I was there. When I was at home.
Yeah.
And it all came to me, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this is
that's pretty scary.
This is unreal.
Yeah.
So from there, Steve, in your journey, what then happens? So we've got to the point of where you've noticed the crop circles, you've noticed what's going on.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, what it was, I was looking at it, and I ripped all the names of the planets down the side, which form the solar system. It's like something like cut out Star. Remember the film Stargate?
Yeah.
It's like doing the petroglyph, the glyphs for that.
Right. Okay.
And so I got the names, and I was going like that.
So you were moving them,
linking
them up.
Letters from the words, and they formed a message. And I was like, yeah, right.
What did the message say?
The first thing said return.
Okay.
All right. And if you was going to give somebody a message, return would be part of something. Would be a message.
Yeah, definitely.
A message.
I would agree.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Wording. Yeah. Return, Elohim, Atlantis, and Jesus. All right.
Okay.
And I'm not into religion, but these were some of the other. And I got some other messages, but I haven't worked on it for a long time. But these were the ones, and I poo-pooed it and pushed it away.
Yeah.
And I started again, and I got the same stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And this is about 3 or 4 times, and it's like I couldn't believe it.
No,
I could not believe what was going on.
That is
right. So what I did was I writ it all out, and there's other symbols for Mars, which was a astronomer's symbol, which was like a circle with an arrow. And that was the symbol for Mars. So there's 2 symbols for Mars. So Mars was dominant in the message.
Yeah.
All right, and it was mind-boggling. And I wrote it all down. I put the message there, and I didn't even know what Elohim was, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Atlantis, and so I wrote a paper out, and it went all around. It went to Quest. Quest took it all around the world to the conferences.
Incredible.
It went to America.
Wow.
And then that's when stuff happened.
Tell us what happened.
Well, they went to America, and obviously at conventions there's people from the government there, which people don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the government, CIA, whatever, picked it up. And then when We had people coming from America who were showing us Majestic 12 papers.
Can you explain what they are?
Majestic 12, it was papers of what the government were planning to do, what the government were doing.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems to have come true 30 years hence. It's all coming true sort of thing.
Okay.
And we had people from Air Force and stuff. Lots of people.
So it's a pretty big deal. This is a big deal.
Yeah, this is
a huge deal.
Huge. I mean, not other UFO groups and stuff have done this sort of thing.
Right, and
anyway,
this is the first time anything like this has been published or seen.
Well, it was published at the time. It was a little paper that went along with the magazine.
Yeah.
At conventions.
So I've got Elohim. Just pop that into the internet. So Elohim, noun, a name for God used frequently in the Hebrew Bible. So fair play. I think so. You've got Jesus, you've got God, you've got obviously other words, and that does correlate with your story. So you're at the convention then, with Quest magazine.
This was in Leeds. This was.
Yeah.
And I had loads of people come up to me. We believe in what you wrote. We believe you.
Yeah. One of the main things that I would think from that is if someone was to turn around to me and say that's a little rubbish, I turn around and say, well, he had no idea what this word meant.
No, I didn't. And look at this.
Why is he going to come out and use this random word?
Yeah.
And have no idea what the meaning is, and then after have to research the meaning to the word. So it's a good statement.
I didn't even know, so I was like,
no, it's a good statement.
Like a virgin, it's not as if I knew what I was writing down. I'm going to put this and put that.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I didn't even know what it was.
No, it's a good statement.
Which was proves that I was not making this shit up. But anyway, so then we had people joining the group, and we had this one person saying, I can take you to a place where you're going to see aliens and UFOs.
That's a big statement.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And I thought, okay then.
So where was this person from? Where are we to now?
Well, I'm not mentioning his name.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
This was in Bristol.
Right. Okay.
In Bristol.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's go. He said I'm taking you to Chew Valley.
Right. Okay.
Chew Valley Lakes. We went.
Yeah.
And this guy, all right, also pretended he was psychic, all right, and he would say things about me. I was thinking, oh my God, how did you know that? Blah 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 blah. And I thought, okay, that's not part of his illusion, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went back to my wife at the time. I said, this guy knows everything about me. She said, yeah, dumbass, because I told him. So I thought that's when I thought, right.
Yeah.
This guy ain't what he's supposed to be. So we went along with what he was saying.
Yeah.
All right. And we went to Chew Valley Lakes. 2 hours. We had all the big Sony cameras, everything, looking, binoculars, all the shit going. And nothing. So I was okay, let's go. We'll pack it all away. And somebody said, hold on, look, there's some lights. All right. So we've seen some lights come in. And this is it. Get everything going. Everyone was fluffing about. And it was a Hercules transport aircraft. And it just flew past us. Then we thought, right, okay, we're not being messed about anymore. Went, put everything away. I looked up and I seen lights, and these were like loads of lights in the formation.
Yeah.
And it came across to us, and it came further, and it is like, I was like, oh my God, that is a UFO. I said, quick, get the cameras going, and nobody moved. Everybody was in shock.
Yeah.
All right, and we couldn't get the cameras going. Something happened that couldn't. It's simply, it's always cameras not working. Shit, but they weren't working. It was a massive V-shaped UFO. And this was back in 1987. Right.
Okay.
It was covered in. Because I remember it, and I drew it. It was covered in tubes. So many tubes, black tubes. So many lights.
Okay.
Right, and it was V-shaped, and it came right in front of us. It stopped, and it opened up into a straight line. Okay.
Like a cigar shape.
Yeah. From a V to a cigar shape, and it's just hovering, say, like from here to where that house is over there.
So just for the viewers at home, you're listed about 300-400 yards away.
Yeah.
Cool. It was hovering in the air.
In the air. It just came.
How close was it to you?
It was very close. I think we were in a field, and there was the road, and it was in the next field.
Okay, so about 300-400 yards away, so that's a bit too close for comfort, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we had. I can't remember what happened. I think we had missing time. And then the next day, my friend, the coordinator, found that people are panicking. There's one guy trying to kill himself. People are leaving the group. They're so scared and
Well, I
stuff.
take it they just didn't expect to see this.
No. So there's scared and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I was part of the group disbanding. And then this guy who was pretending to be psychic was shit stirring about people saying this and that, turning people against each other. So that worked.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the group disbanded. Okay. Cut a long story short, other people were taken. I was taken. I can remember certain things about it, but this has got to be 30 odd years ago.
Steve, sorry to cut you up, mate. Was this when the triangular craft?
V-shaped, not triangular.
The V-shaped craft coming to a straight line, cigar shaped. Were you taken at this point, or was it a different point in?
It was afterwards.
Afterwards.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and like I said, we all split up, and it was very frightening. I had blood on my pillow, and I was taken out of body, and
so you were let down in bed then?
Yeah, in bed. I was taken physically and out of body as well. They were doing the business on me, sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
So if you were, because I'm really, really, really interested in this abduction into details, but obviously I respect it's been such a long time. It's difficult for you to get it. So if you were, I'm just trying to picture myself in this scenario. You're in bed, you've had an out-of-body experience, so I gather you're going with your body. Is this the traditional sense of an abduction, where you'd have the light beaming down that brings you up to the craft, for instance? And can you remember what it looked like inside the craft?
In some cases, the abductions are done through that, but mine was out of body, and I can't remember any other ones. And it was quite horrible. Some of it. When you first get abducted, it's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then you feel like you're in two worlds. You know, you're not
Technically
really in this reality.
Yeah.
And these things are going on, and they were reptile sort of serpent things, but they also had horses. There's aliens with hoods on and like horses shaped heads, but not horses.
So in a different world, was you in, for instance, so you weren't necessarily in an alien craft, you were in a different world.
Yes.
So when you mention, obviously, and I appreciate it's difficult, but doing the business on you, for instance, was that performing procedures on you, medically, mentally? Was it communicating?
I was forced to have sex with one of these female aliens. Which is what everybody says, but no, this is true. And that was scary. There was no grace.
Interesting.
No grace.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the grey alien. So for the viewers and the listeners out there, the grey aliens are your most common, you would say, perception to the general public of what an alien is. Is the little guy, I don't know, size of a 5-6-year-old human being, little slit for a nose, no sexual organs, anything like that. And that's what you would commonly perceive to be an alien. So what you saw, Steve, was serpentine creatures into which you went through hell and back, really.
Well, yeah, it was pretty bad. But the other aliens were different types of aliens.
Yeah.
There seems to be a hierarchy of aliens. Just trying to think. Yeah, I was forced to mate with one of them, and she said to me, "Come on, you know what you're doing," sort of thing.
So they were able to communicate you
through
your language.
Through English, sort of thing.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a weird experience, but I sort of they would look into your mind, but I could look into theirs as well, and they didn't like it.
Okay.
All right.
So then they would know that you were doing that.
Yeah, because normally if they abduct people, they don't do this. But unfortunately, I could read their minds as well.
Right, okay.
And they didn't like it.
And they didn't like that.
They didn't like that at all. They were pretty scared. And then one of them said to me, "What is your type of being doing in this part of the universe?" And that freaked the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just me, you know?
Yeah.
So they said that, and they were starting to, they were bowing to me, and like I thought, well, why are you doing this sort of thing? And they showed me around their craft.
What was that like? Yeah. Sorry to cut you up.
Sorry.
I'm absolutely enthralled at the prospect of this. You've got me hooked. So the craft, from what many would perceive to be, we would expect it to be a metallic sort of craft. What did you see?
It was the V-shaped craft. It wasn't a disc. It wasn't a dumbbell shape, which people think
with all the lights and everything. Did it have the lights?
There were so many lights on it, I couldn't count them.
Right. Okay.
And it, the bird nest stadium
in China. Yeah.
That was what it looked like.
Okay.
All those tubes.
Yeah.
So if you look it up on,
that's interesting.
that's what it looked like. But loads of like.
What did it feel like? Could you explain what it felt like? I know it was a long time ago, but did it feel like you were in a different atmosphere? Did it feel?
It felt normal.
It felt normal.
To be there.
Okay.
At first, it was pretty mind-opening, but it's normal to be there.
Well, obviously, all this stuff's just happened to you,
Yeah.
and you're there thinking, "Fucking hell, what's going on here?" You know what I mean? And then,
because the bloke who said we're going to meet aliens said, one, they're interested in the team and what they're doing, and two, they're interested in you because what you wrote on the crop circle message.
Okay.
So you've dissected an important message.
Yeah.
So they want to know.
How
have you done that?
Who is this person?
Okay. Yeah. That's
so
fair
it was
enough.
just pretty.
Okay.
Whatever, But I was, like I said, it was just me at the time.
So that. Yeah, that is a pretty.
Yeah, so we're just getting a picture up at a bird's nest stadium, and you can see by the tubes. I get it.
Yeah,
it was like that. But I think more darker, blacker.
Yeah.
And these tubes were bio tubes, made out of bio material.
Okay.
So that means the craft was alive.
Yeah.
Right.
So so you're saying it's like a living, breathing craft.
Yeah.
That could
morph into
shapes. I was going to say that do whatever it please.
Do whatever
really.
it wants.
Yeah.
So it didn't come across as like a man-made
static invention.
It wasn't like a silver disc or you know what I mean.
Okay, that's fair.
And in 1987, this was like what the
it was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So obviously you're on the bean. Obviously you've been forced to, fornicate with one of the beings as well. Anything else you can sort of remember?
Yes. Like I said, they were bowing to me, and I'm thinking, why are you doing this sort of thing? They showed me around their crafts, what they were doing.
What were they doing?
What was it like?
Well, I don't think you want to know. Actually, it wasn't good.
Any other?
How many? How many was there? Was it crowded?
There was quite a few. Like I said, there was the little serpents. There was other serpents.
So there was different. There was different.
Yeah, and there was the ones with who wore the hoods and the long faces.
So they had clothing.
Yeah,
so they were.
Yeah, but these had long clothing, and these came right up close to me, and I looked into one of their eyes, and I said, I know you. You're Oriana," and they dropped me.
Didn't like that.
No, they didn't like that.
Okay.
They dropped me out of my body into my bed. All right.
Yeah.
And I had physical bruises all down my side where the impact was so bad.
Okay.
And my friend could witness it because he came and took pictures and stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Of my body.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I recognised them. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. They're saying what type of beings, why are you doing here? I recognise these things. What's going on?
Yeah.
And that's total. It still does fuck my mind up.
I can.
You know what I mean?
That, yeah.
But they took me out to the processing ships where they process things. They process people and animals, stuff like an abattoir ship.
Do you think that that's technically related to the cows and cattle that have been mutilated, dumped into fields, but no trace of any blood? So you think these are taken up, dealt with, as you'd say,
and
people.
And
then put back?
So
but if you think about it, over the years, there's been a lot of
people gone missing.
Yeah, people gone missing.
Yeah,
children, adults, teenagers,
and they use the fluids to feed off of the greys and also to power their ships.
So we're saying
their ships are alive.
So what you're saying is that they're using our resources
to
their benefit.
Yes.
Okay.
So
That's
well,
scary.
It is scary.
That's very scary.
And I didn't want to say it, but
No,
it's all part of my abduction.
I want to hear it.
And the viewers want to hear it too. And we'll jump straight back onto the train of the podcast. So obviously we've gone through a couple of abductions. Obviously that you've mentioned seems to be the same sort of thing. It's sort of you're in your bed, and that seems to be their way of getting to you. That seems to be the portal that opens while you're down asleep or awake, should I say?
Yeah, they can't do it when you're awake.
So obviously, as you're asleep, parts of your brain obviously begin to wake up, and you can then obviously enter the portals which take you to the ships.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. Okay,
yes.
Cool. And then in terms of you've been living obviously all your life, and you're having these experiences. I know this one we touched on briefly before the podcast started, and as we were discussing before about not an abduction, but about how you saw the aliens in the bathroom. And the porthole.
Oh yeah. I was one night I woke up to go to the toilet, which you do. I went to the toilet, went back to bed again, woke up again, went to the toilet, maybe some hours afterwards, went back to bed again. Third time I woke up, I opened my door, I looked down, there was two, they weren't greys or nothing, there were just beings, aliens there. One grabbed my throat, grabbed me by the throat.
And this is in your own home?
In my own home. They stopped me from going to the toilet. They pushed me back in, but as I went back in, I could see on the wall there was a porthole, all right, like a hole, and I could see into it as it went up and through. I could actually see a little bit how far it went.
Okay.
So that was really spooky.
Yeah.
Did you see anything in there?
It looked like rocks or some sort of like boulder sort of things, or maybe something biological, like a throat.
Right. Okay.
You know.
So yeah, I see what you're saying. So you're looking through what they would call a wormhole.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how you can, people believe you can travel interstellar is through wormholes.
I'm sort of getting the feeling that you found with the crop circles that you found out some really.
I touched a sore point.
Yeah, and I'm sort of getting the feeling that they want to know who you are.
Yeah, but these aliens knew who I. Well, they didn't know who I was. They said, "What type? Why are you in this part of the universe?" Yeah. And that, like I said, still does my head in a bit, you know.
Yeah.
But then I recognised one of them, and I'm thinking, "Hold on a minute."
Yeah.
And they were in shock and dropped me into my body.
Where did you recognise them from?
I don't know. I said one of their names, and I looked it up, and Oriana is some sort of like earth goddess or mother goddess of earth or something like that. If you look it up on
I'll have a look now. Yeah.
I don't know, but it was an experience. But I've had other abductions afterwards. I can't remember them, but. I remember, I went to this, out of my body into this great big red, it was a crimson, like, hole which opened up like that. And I went through it, and I met people that recognised me, and I knew them.
Yeah.
And I was having a laugh with them.
Right, okay.
And it felt so relaxed, like, this is where I belong, sort of thing.
Okay. And was this, again, while you were sleeping?
Yeah, this was afterwards, but through the 90s, I was taken by different factions of aliens. I can make out it to be.
Yeah.
You know, the ones at the beginning didn't like me. I frightened them.
Yeah, you found something out.
Found something out. So another factions or whatever.
Yeah.
Took me until now, where they've been pretty nasty.
Okay.
Now.
Are you still getting these abductions now?
I'm getting sort of weird things, weird dreams.
And this is so this is all during your sleep as well.
Yeah, and I've been one of my last ones was alien being was trying to get me, and I bit his hand.
Okay.
I bit into him, so it was weird. It was horrible, but it was my defense mechanism.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do then is decipher what is an abduction and what is a dream.
Yeah.
Because, obviously with all due respect, I could have a dream where I'm in a Wimbledon final, which don't necessarily mean it happens, but then I've had other dreams, like I explained when I had sleep paralysis, when I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I've been through that myself, which frightened the life out of me. So obviously the abductions seemed extreme, real to you.
I've never had all my life.
Yeah.
And when it was incorporated into what I was doing as well,
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I've never had that sort of experience before, and that was then sort of thing. But now I believe, all right.
Okay.
Back in 1987, it was alien abductions. Now, through those years, I reckon they've shown the government how to do it as well.
And that's what we're going to move on to now.
Okay, that's interesting.
So obviously, there's a lot of things coming out at the moment for the listeners that are, not really, let's say, up to date and in touch with this sort of thing, listening to other podcasts from around the world, most notably, obviously, the Joe Rogan podcast, where Alex Jones will come on, Brian Cox, Bob Lazar, you sort of saw that, sort of story. If you want to catch a good documentary on Area 51 and S4 and reverse engineering, catch Bob Lazar and Flying Saucers, available on Netflix, which is absolutely outstanding, which will open your eyes to that. What we will do now is move on to, obviously, the governments, because in a crazy world that we're living in now with COVID, one thing that is coming out is governments asserting control over populations. And also the New York Times reporting only a few weeks ago, so we're talking July 2020, that a Tic Tac shaped craft was intercepted by the US Navy Air Force. The fact, Steve, that they're bringing these things out into the public domain, is that preparing us for something that we should be worried about?
Yes, we should be worried about. It's a part of a grand deception, which I worked out through the crop circles, blah, blah, sort of thing. How can I put it? They've found stuff now, okay? South Pole is now supposed to be part of Atlantis, all right?
Right, okay.
In Antarctica.
And Antarctica.
Yeah.
The Elohim, the word is for God, but there's other words for it, for the fallen ones as well. Gods or God. Okay, there's different meanings to it.
Yeah.
So, now they've found Atlantis in the South Pole. Now they've found underneath technology, frozen aliens.
Okay.
Right? So, back in the crop circle days, I depicted Return of the Elohim, Return of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Now it's Atlantis has been found,
right.
and the Elohim have been found underneath the ice.
Yeah.
It's
So that's
a shocker.
That's a bit spooky, isn't it?
It is.
very
spooky,
absolutely.
It is.
So in terms of these governments, have obviously, not to say, I haven't had any personal experience with it. That's why we're doing the pod, is to get someone on the inside who has had dealings and experiences with it. But a lot of people at home at the moment are getting quite frustrated with governments, frustrated at the way they're handling certain situations and their manipulation of control. So at the moment, we've got in our country with face masks at the moment is a contentious issue. The fact of the matter is, if you don't wear a face mask in certain arenas, you will be fined.
Yeah.
So therefore, they get control. But where UFOs and extraterrestrials and other worldly things come into it, is they really drop their shit in Area 51 in 1989, when Bob Lazar comes out and tells the world there's this base called Area 51. Yeah, absolutely. They denied the existence of Area 51 in 1989 with Bob Lazar. He come out and said he was reverse engineering these crafts. The government deleted his school history. They deleted his job history. They deleted everything. He had court cases about him. What he did say is he found an element 115, which they said the government then came out and said it was impossible to make. Lo and behold, 2016, the Russian government make element 115. Sure, it was only for a couple of seconds.
It's now on the periodic table, is that right?
Exactly correct. And I think in also the early noughties, the US government did announce that Area 51 was a testing range and a facility which does house different sites, such as S4. It's where obviously the spy planes were done in the early 1950s to spy on Russia. But in terms of governments now, I want to get your views on Donald Trump's introduction of a US Space Force, which is now official.
Yes. The negative aliens that exist around this realm, this planet, and underground as well, are fighting a war, and they need help to fight this war.
Yeah.
So this is why they've called on governments and the resources of the armed forces to form a space fleet using technology from these aliens, which of course these aliens didn't create, they've nicked from other planets other
Okay.
other
That's
timelines,
interesting.
other
That's
timelines.
interesting.
Okay, and they're using it. Okay, so it's not. It's been projected as human technology, but it's not as this alien technology. But then the aliens who got the technology got it from somebody else.
Yeah.
Got it from somebody else.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the space fleet is to fight wars, and this solar system is isolated. Okay.
Yeah.
They've got boundaries around it, like a big.
Like the Kuiper Belt.
Yeah.
Is that what they say is code, for instance? That could be the boundary.
Yeah, and then I think the boundary goes on further than just the planets that are in the solar system. So I mean, we've been told there's only 9 planets, but we don't actually know.
No, we don't know.
We don't know that.
Well, there is the rumours of the 10th planet.
There's Planet X.
Planet X
Yeah.
in Nibiru, where they
Yeah.
saw the let's say satellite planets such as my goodness, I can't remember the names of these planets now. What's that called, man?
They found one. Wasn't there one moon that was meant to be identical to Earth?
Dwarf planets.
Only that it was run with methane instead.
Dwarf planets, so
Yeah.
like Maki, for instance, and Setna, and these bodies are on the outer.
Titan was a moon.
Titans are
Titan.
moons of Jupiter or Saturn,
Yeah.
one of the two. So these dwarf planets are on the edge of the solar system. However, what they found was instead of going around the sun in a normal way, these planets were seen to be distorted in their orbits by something much bigger.
Yeah.
Something that's so far away from the sun, I think it takes tens of thousands of years to complete one orbit, aka an Earth year. Do you think that something could potentially be going on around there? The second question I've got you is, we talk a lot about negative aliens and positive aliens. Who are we with?
What is the human race?
Yes.
No, there are negative aliens that walk among us, negative beings that walk among us.
Yeah.
Okay, in human form, they cause scenarios, they cause conflicts, they cause arguments, they start shit to feed off the energies that are around, negative energies that are around them, the orbs.
Yes.
They feed off of them. They feed off of the energy.
So when you see potentially in the paranormal world, obviously,
Paranormal
orb is an indicator of a ghost.
Would these people know they were these
Yes.
people? They know, so
Yeah.
it's not just
It's a double.
gone into somebody and
It's a double feeding thing. It's like I was bullied a lot at school,
yeah,
and the fear was intense.
yeah.
But the bully would feed off the fear.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But also the energy that was controlling the bully would feed off the fear
Would feed
as
off
well.
the fear, yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword sort of thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And these negative beings use the negative being, the negative human, to cause a scenario. Maybe family,
Yeah,
arguments,
yeah.
sort of thing.
So basically, they just said let's go and cause havoc.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I've had it all my life, as well as all these abductions and UFO stuff. This was in the 80s, but all my life I've been bullied. I've been in scenarios with family, with arguments.
Yeah,
It's to feed energy.
it's to feed energy.
And it's called the conflict cycle.
Okay.
Right? And
Yeah,
I've found it on all my learning I've been through, all this UFO stuff. After I lost my marriage, I got looking on the site, and it said the conflict cycle, and I read about it, and I contacted the place. I said, oh my God, this was my marriage.
This is yeah. Okay.
You know? I said, and obviously it happens to a lot of people because they produced a picture of negative energies feeding, reptilian energies feeding off of it.
Yeah.
This is the biggest learning. I mean, I've been through all that UFO stuff. This was the biggest
yeah.
eye opener
Yeah,
I
oh,
ever
yeah,
had.
oh, yeah,
Because
I
this
agree.
was my life, and
Yeah,
this has been
yeah.
my marriage, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
This is why we argue.
Okay. So yeah. All right. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
Because
that's fair enough.
negative energies feed off it. It's all part of the matrix.
And
The matrix
yeah, okay.
thing. I mean, it's not like Keanu Reeves and all this kung fu backflipping thing.
You mean like the world?
Yeah, the whole world is a matrix of scenarios which
Yeah.
feeds energies.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting.
Right, that goes for work, family life,
Yeah.
going downtown, getting pissed and having a
Yeah.
fight.
No, yeah. That is.
You know,
yeah.
that's you've got the negative energies on your back. I've actually got a picture of me when I'm drunk with a big orb above me, which is obviously feeding off of my alcohol consumption.
Where do you think this is going?
What do you mean?
What do you think the end result will be
What for life?
for humanity in general?
This the grand deception being played out.
Yeah.
The government's in a perfect position to announce life outside the planet.
Yeah.
NASA's going to be the ones to do it, because
Yeah.
if NASA says jump off a cliff, people
People
jump
do
off a
it.
cliff.
Yeah.
And if NASA says there's no life, people go, there's no life.
There's no, yeah, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So they're going to be at the forefront of doing the grand deception, and introducing these negative aliens as good guys. And once they do, we're fucked.
It
Okay.
ties in, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It ties
no, it
in
does,
nicely
it does.
with the New York Times post about the admission that there was an unidentified flying objects, which were seen by the US Navy, as we've already touched on, the Air Force and the Navy, just off the coast of Florida. And the fact that the newspapers have already told us that that's a fact, that could be then tying into what you're saying, Steve, is in a preparation to prepare the general public of the world that we aren't alone. And I think I want to pay tribute to you for coming into the podcast today.
Can I just say
Yeah,
one
of
more
course.
thing?
Absolutely, yeah, jump in.
There are different factions outside the planet fighting these negative aliens. All right, and they're trying to stop what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if there's a trap, if you know it's there, you can walk round it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you fall into it.
And do you think we're in line to fall into the trap or walk around it?
Yeah, well, like I said with the crop circle stuff, I've predicted all this stuff in the past, and people got to know that there is hope outside the planet.
Yeah.
That there's a war going on outside the planet. There's positive and negative factions fighting to destroy the empire of this solar system, and in this arm of the solar system and an arm of the galaxy is out in the desolate zone of the universe.
Yeah.
So whoever is in control can do what they want.
Okay.
But I think these beings have gone against the power of the universe, the center of the universe, broken all the laws.
Yeah.
And I think there is a sort of police force outside that come in to deal with them. That's what I've been getting from all my abductions.
So that's your feeling of it.
That's my feeling of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So people got to wake up before this shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, that's all I'm trying
Yeah.
to say.
No.
I think what we'll definitely do, Steve, is obviously we're now approaching the hour, which is obviously getting to the end of the podcast. I think, as I say, we pay tribute to you for travelling all the way over to us from the city in which you reside. When we obviously get more, I would say, guests onto the show to discuss this particular subject, it would be nice to have you back on and then to have an open debate with somebody else from maybe the other side.
Great. It's been great. It's
Fantastic.
been free flowing, and I like it.
Which is good. So
Before we go, can you just tell us a little bit about your group, your Facebook group?
Yeah,
I'm impressed with the amount of members. I can't.
Yeah,
How many
absolutely.
did you say it was now?
Over 900 members, isn't there, I think?
crikey.
yeah,
I haven't been on it for ages.
yeah.
It's all about, well, it started for West Country UFO sightings, which I've had loads. I've got loads of pictures
Yeah.
of daytime UFOs which follow me about Bristol. I can walk along and look up, and I'll take a picture, and it's there. They're there.
All right.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's I set it up for people in Bristol to send the stuff in, but everybody else is joined.
Okay.
So it's become not a Bristol thing. It's become
Sort of
more
national
thing,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is good. But I wish people. I think I've got a problem with the page. People can't seem to post on it.
Right. Okay.
So if I can get somebody to help me with the page,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
we can help you with that.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is obviously when the podcast is done, edited and ready for transmission for your lovely ears to receive, we'll make sure the podcast is put up on Steve's page, which is the Bristol Paranormal and UFO page on Facebook. There'll be a link to it on all our social media sites and in the YouTube on the link below that you will see on your screen. Please remember to like, subscribe and listen to get all the great content that will be coming your way from the TTM podcast. And we're out.